EastEnders fans, and welcome to another episode of Albert Square After Dark, your weekly EastEnders podcast. This week, discussing the episodes broadcast between the 20th and the 23rd of November, 2023. Hi, sorry we're late. Thank you for all your messages of concern. Nothing terrible happened, don't worry. I just had an event that I forgot that I needed to go to. I genuinely think we concerned some of you. You did, especially with the post that you put on Instagram. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Ree. Hello, Ree. How are you this week? You worrying our listeners and viewers.
Yeah, I just said to Rob, actually, I don't know why I made it sound like something really serious
Life and death
happened on Instagram.
Yeah.
Especially with the thanks for your understanding. I don't
Thanks
know,
for your
I'm sleep
understanding.
deprived. Well, you know.
All it was that
People might get angry that we're a day late, Rob.
Some people would.
Anyway, okay.
Some people would. But all it was that I had an event that I just completely forgot about. I got my diaries all mixed up, so I had to just put the podcast back a day. That's all that happened. My mum graduated, and all is marvellous with the world. Everything's
well done, Rob's mum.
Yeah, bless her. She's clever.
Bravo to her.
Yes. So, how are you this week, Ray? Are you well?
I'm good. Just a bit sleep deprived, but all good.
What's new there, then? Nothing new there.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing new.
Check out this outfit, Ree. I'm going to brag here for a moment, right? So check out this outfit and the t-shirt underneath it, right? Neither of these fitted a couple of months ago.
Oh, is it that new gym membership doing working wonders, Rob?
This is Gym Rob you're looking at now. Oh, yes.
Is it?
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
tell Gym
I
Rob.
could button the shirt up. I couldn't do that before. And
I've
got a gym crush as well, right? So I was at the gym last night, and there was a guy there, right, who an Adonis, honest to God, and he was on a treadmill for about half an hour at running speed. I was like, that's insane. And like, he had this really, and like, obviously because he was going mad on it for half an hour, like he was sweating and all that kind of thing. But he's at the size where he actually looks sexy when he sweats. So me, I don't look sexy when I sweat. I look like some.
Yeah, that is so true. Isn't it?
I look like some swamp creature when I sweat. But him, he was glistening, like a glistening Adonis. So that's what I'm aiming to look like. So yeah, I'm gonna keep going. I'm enjoying it. I'm actually enjoying the endorphins and all of that kind of thing. What has happened to me? What has happened to me?
Rob, that's how I've been getting my kicks for a while. Endorphins. Well, I said that I hadn't recently since I've had a little in, but it's good.
This time next year, I'm going to be a skinny model. Oh yes.
Do you know what, Rob? It's not about being skinny. It's about being healthy and feeling good.
No, it's not. I'm gay.
It is.
I don't go to the gym to feel healthy. I go to the gym to look better.
Right. Fair enough, Rob. If that's what you want from it.
It's all it's about. Well, you get both, don't you? It's good for your mental health.
You do.
It's good for your physical health. It's good for your all over health, and I'll look fit. And I'll get nice compliments in the YouTube section because I don't get them these days. So that's what I'm aiming for, just to please you. That's what I'm here for.
I've seen a few people getting you nice comments. That's not true.
Some people are thirsty. What can I say? You know, some of them have got common sense. Anyway, right. So we are here. So hello. Let's talk about this week's EastEnders. It went a bit controversial, it would appear, this week. We've got quite the discussion to come up later on with the Linda and Dean story. We might not agree. We might agree. We don't know yet. We haven't really had that much of a discussion about it beforehand, so that'll all be raw. But we've got a few other things to discuss first. We've got a much happier story to start off with, the Suki and Eve stuff. Well, happier for now, before it all goes to hell in a picnic basket next week. So let's get discussing it, shall we, Ree?
Yeah, let's do it.
So let's begin this week. We're talking Suki and Eve. Now then, this is all getting a bit kind of nail biting, isn't it? Suki has finally made the decision to leave Nish. This is it. I feel like this is actually the end of Suki and Nish now officially. And she's finally managed to persuade Vinny how desperately unhappy she is. I mean, Vinny kind of completely U-turned this week, didn't he? Well, like, he was suddenly really supportive of Suki, really kind of understanding, even though I was expecting, because I knew this moment was coming, but I was kind of expecting Suki to sort of having sat Vinny down and actually talk about everything that Nish has put her through over the past year or so. You know what I mean? Like, with all the coercive control, or like physical abuse, all that kind of thing. She didn't actually do any of that. She just sort of spoke about the impact that it was having on her, like the fact that she was losing her hair and that she was stressed, she couldn't eat, she couldn't breathe, and that was enough for Vinny to say, right, okay, fair play, you need to be with Eve. I understand that now. So, would you have liked a bit more of the Suki and Vinny sort of scenes to be explored a little bit more? Or were you happy with how they ended up?
Yeah, I think that she could have definitely discussed, like you say, the abuse side a bit more.
Yeah.
I think it were a bit more believable because it wasn't like she just sat him down and said, I need to leave. Obviously, we had all the stuff with Priya at the start of the week kissing Nish.
Oh
And
yes.
then Vinny witnessing how Suki reacted to that. Sorry, you froze a little then, so I might have paused. Suki reacting, how Suki reacted to that was what made Vinny go, hang on, what's going on here? That's not my mum. What's happening? So that bit made it more believable that he kind of had this U-turn, but I still think maybe we should have seen Vinny witnessing some of the abuse a little bit more. But I think the idea is that Nish is so clever about it, people witness it, perhaps.
Yeah, well, this is always the way, isn't it? Within this sort of relationship, like behind closed doors. That's the reason that it's a thing. When even people that you are living with have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
The thing is about Vinny, like he is fearful of his dad. We know that. He is. If Nish was to turn on him, then he would be terrified. So I'm not quite sure how Vinny is going to react to anything that might be kicking off next week. The Priya stuff was interesting. The Priya stuff kind of went down a sort of path that we were predicting, that she was going to make a move on Nish. I loved Suki walking in and being like, couldn't have cared less. Just like, and go for it, love. Oh, you have fun there. Good luck with that. Priya is playing with fire massively. Now, were you surprised by Nish's reaction?
Oh, yes and no. But mainly no, because he's trying to prove so much that he loves Suki, and I don't think he would go there with Priya anyway. So
no, I was kind of the thing is with Nish, he's a bit confusing at times because, and not for any fault of it, but just because he's that sort of weird human being where you're not quite sure how he's going to react to certain things. And I kind of was under the impression that he's one of these people, he's one of these men that kind of just puts, I'm a man, so I'm up there, and you are all women, so you are down there. So I was kind of under the impression that if Priya made a move on him, he'd be like, well, yeah, of course, I'm not interested, love, but yeah, of course you do. But he actually reacted really angrily to it. It was all like for chucking her out, and he tried to well, he's had her basically removed from the Minute Mart as well. So he's reacted actually.
It didn't make sense to me, to be honest, why he did that.
Well, it didn't make sense to Suki
I get
either.
it, but yeah.
So like Suki was surprised even by it because he gave us some claptrap story about the fact that because she hasn't got a passport, she's not legally entitled to work there. So it was all even though, let's be honest, the way that she got that job was basically because she lived with the Panasars, and you can imagine that it was very much a cash in hand type job anyway. So he was literally just throwing a load of BS at her in order to sort of punish her for what she'd done. The Priya stuff, like she is sort of trying to make an effort within the Panasar household, but by the end of the week, Kazuki has written Nish a note, and Priya is going to be there. Presumably, the way the Duff was framed, it looks very much like Priya is going to be there when the note is found. So Suki has decided to leave Nish. She's spoken to Eve. They are all very much in love. Eve's dumped Tessa. Bless her. I don't like. I thought she took that
Tessa as well.
She took that so well, didn't she? She was so reasonable about it. I was like, go on, Tessa. You go off into the world and meet the love of your life, girl. Go on, you deserve that. Fair play.
Do you know what I liked was how we saw Eve had been stewing on that comment that Tessa had made about, oh, you never get over an ex. And then when he brought it up, Tessa and said, oh, after you said that thing about exes, Tessa's like, what's she on about? Just to show the
throwaway comments. Throwaway comments
to Tessa. Yeah, I thought that was really nice, actually.
Isn't that just so kind of that sort of that phrase could probably be written through EastEnders like a stick of rock, couldn't it? You never get over your ex, because how many storylines, how many characters are all sort of very much influenced by people not being able to get over past relationships. It's quite a lot, especially at the moment. So that sort of nailed that on. Tessa went off, and I don't think we'll see Tessa again, but I wish her well. Not many characters you think that of, but I genuinely wish Tessa well. I hope she meets the love of her life and she's very happy somewhere. Thank God she's got out of Albert Square, because she probably would have died there the way it goes. She doesn't deserve that.
I think she was sensing that anyway, weren't she? You brought me somewhere else.
Do you know what? Actually, do you know what? You go with your ex. That's okay. I'm going to leave now. See you later. Bye. So there we are. So Suki and Eve had this really nice scenes together, actually. The Suki fans would have been going mad this week because there were some really sort of lovely, tender moments between Suki and Eve this week. Eve basically saying, well, this is the reason that I'm trying to move on, because you hurt me and I can't be with someone who is hiding me away. I want someone to be proud of being with me, which is understandable. You can see where she's coming from. but Suki's decided that she's leaving. She has written Nish a letter, which is currently sat on the Panasar kitchen table that he is about to discover. And Eve and Suki are sort of planning on running away to Glasgow together, because why not Glasgow?
Why not?
Why
Well,
not?
it's quite far away from London, so
It is. She's going to be tricky to find, you would think.
Yeah.
So how is this all going to happen? This looks like it's going to be the climax next week of this, or rather the start of the climax for this next week. I bet we
Well,
get Suki's trailer next week as well. I bet you we get
oh,
Suki's.
that's
I
a
bet
good
you we
point.
get.
Yeah, definitely.
I bet we get
Yeah.
Suki's trailer next
Mm.
week. Mm.
Well, it depends what's in this note, doesn't it? And I think it's
Yes.
going to be. Is it going to be Priya or Nish who opens it? That's the big question as
Yeah.
well. Possibly Priya, because the Duff ended with her saying, "Shall I go and cook some food?"
Yeah.
So that implies that she might be heading towards the kitchen. I don't know.
I think Priya might find it and then sort of, because the thing is, at the minute, Suki. I mean, the week ended with Suki and Eve. Like Eve was saying, like, I need some time here. Okay, I need some time. I can't just run away right now. So let's leave it a few hours and then decide what we're going to do. But she realizes that Suki has left this note and says, right, well, you need to go. So it seems like Suki is going to go somewhere. Because they both kind of ran off with the suitcase. So we don't know quite where Suki's going to go, but Eve's going to be kicking around. Now, how much I would have thought that Eve's in a lot more danger than Suki right now, isn't she?
Yeah, but also, well, it depends what's in the note, because surely Suki, she was planning on running off to Glasgow. She wouldn't have dropped Eve in it and then left the square, surely. Surely she's not written in the note about Eve.
Unless she's written about this,
unless she's written about a woman and not named her directly, and then we're supposed to assume that Nish is going to put two and two together.
Or he's going to get it out of Vinny.
Oh yeah, that was a very good point. Yeah,
that's the thing as well, isn't it? As much as Vinny has done a U-turn this week, he's still rubbish at lying. So I can see Nish kind of dragging it out of Vinny fairly easily as to where, and then that's going to leave Vinny in the firing line because you helped her escape. So you're now in deep doo-doo. So I can't wait. It's going to be good next week.
Also, like, why not just let Suki go to Glasgow and Eve say, "I'll catch you up"? Like, why was that not an option?
I know trains exist. I mean? I'll text you the address, and then you can just meet me there. That would be easier.
I need a few days to wrap things up, Suki. You go ahead. Write down the address or something. I know.
Where is the romance in that?
There isn't. Is there? Clearly.
No one ever had a romantic exit from the square saying, "I'll meet you there." We have to leave together.
That's true.
We have to leave together.
I've seen a few days, love.
Yeah, no, there's nothing
in a black cab.
Yeah, no, it's nothing too final about that. I'm very excited because this really does appear, and we have heard from Chris Clenshaw that all hell is going to break loose when Nish discovers what has been going on. So it's all going to get very, very scary. There's been a few pictures posting around of Nish looking angry.
Angry Nish.
Angry Nish is not. So I mean, thinking about how Nish's reaction will play out, because we know that Nish is killed through jealousy for Suki. So if he discovers that Eve is the lover, which invariably he will, that puts Eve in a lot of danger. It puts Vinny in danger, I think, as well.
On top of it, Nish is going to be embarrassed as well, and
he's going to be humiliated.
His reputation, exactly, humiliated's the word. So that is going to make him even more angry about everything. So God knows what he's going to do.
I don't know. I mean, I can't even imagine to see how this is going to play out, or how it's going to play out, because with them kind of on the verge of running away together at the moment, Suki has now reached a point where she's written that note. So in her head, I think she's done. So she's not going to be able to backtrack from any of it now. So she's going to have to face the issues that are coming her way straight away when Nish confronts her. So, it's very exciting.
Yeah.
And where does this leave Priya, do you think? So we think that Priya is maybe going to be the one that discovers the notes, like you say, it all depends on what she has actually said in this letter, because presumably she's giving the reasons as to why she's leaving him, and presumably that's going to be a list of things that's wrong with him, like you're controlling, you scare me, you're, etc., etc., etc. So whether she's come out in that letter remains to be seen. I don't think she has. I think that's going to come out of Vinny when Nish finds out that Vinny was involved in her.
That helped her. Well, I think the way that Priya and Suki have just left it, for some reason, Priya still thinks that it was Suki who got a sack from the
so she
said she's the one. So she's got nothing to lose in dropping her in it, has she?
No, not at all.
She can try and make it work in her favour and go to Nish, is something that you should know. I don't know, something. Priya's going to have some involvement, I think. Otherwise, why have that scene of her saying, "Oh, I think that it was Suki who got me fired"?
Yeah. Well, we also need to think about where Eve is going to fit into all of this, because she said at the end of the week, right, well, I can't just leave everything. I need to deal with Stacey. Now, Stacey is probably going to get involved. Stacey's going to end up getting involved in the story in some way at some point, because obviously she knew about everything for a start. So it's probably instantly going to put her in the firing line of Nish's rage at some point as well. Although good luck versus Stacey. But we found out a little bit more. The Theo stuff has been absolutely silenced now for a few weeks since the big week a few weeks back. We finally got some clarification about what's going on with Theo. He had his plea hearing, which has now been adjourned, and at the end of the week, Theo turns up at the end of the week and wants to speak to Stacey. We don't know about what. We don't know what he's going to say, but that's all going to be kind of playing into next week. Now, with the Suki and Eve story kind of starting to climax next week, you'd think that the two stories would sort of become involved in one another, don't you think?
Yeah, so maybe it's going to be a reason why Eve decides that she can't run away with Suki for some reason. That Theo's going to, I don't know what he's going to say though. Also, by the way, he looks fantastic. Did we know that he had such a remarkable recovery after Freddie attacked him?
Oh, Theo, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we didn't really see much of Theo afterwards, did we? So maybe we'll find out exactly what happened with him. When Freddie left, I think we knew that he'd just about recovered. So we haven't seen Freddie since then, because he's off charring and doing very well, by the way. For Bobby Grace, you're doing excellently and Strictly. Well done. So yeah, I feel like that we're going to learn some more about what Theo's actually been up to in the weeks preceding this, and sort of finding out where he stands now. I mean, Theo is still very much a suspect for the floor because Stacey's one of the 6. So you sort of wonder where Theo goes from here. Like, you sort of have to wonder how much worse can Theo possibly get, to the extent where he's going to be a potential murder victim.
The only thing I can think is that he's going to try and offer Stacey some money or something. It's going to be something like that to make her not go to court, or to make her say that it were all lies. Again, there's a bit of a parallel with what we're going to talk about with Dean and Linda if that happens, something like that, maybe.
Yes. But you sort of feel like, I kind of feel like we've seen the worst of Theo now.
We said that before he tried to RAPE her. So
that's true.
I don't know. Maybe there is worse that can happen. Is he going to go after her kids? Nah, surely not. Surely not.
No, I don't think he's
Charlie. Maybe Charlie gonna. You don't think he's that sort of guy? So what are you gonna say?
I don't think. Well, no, because I don't think he's the sort. I think he's very much focused on Stacey. I don't think he cares anything else about anybody around her. I think he's very much sort of focused on Stacey and having Stacey and sort of.
But that can get to Stacey, can't it?
True.
That'd be a good way of getting to her. But I don't know. This is
when I say he's not that sort of guy,
no idea.
When I say he's not that sort of guy, I mean he's not that sort of villain.
I know what you mean.
I think he's very sort of tunnel visioned on Stacey. So I'm sort of, but maybe you might be right, because I'm sort of need to wonder. Now we've got well over a month now until the 6 storyline either ends or begins, whichever way you want to look at it. Very much sounds like it's very much the start of a big thing, Christmas Day. Like the 6 become the 6 on Christmas Day. So you kind of got to wonder, what has Theo got left in him in terms of what he could possibly do to warrant him being a potential suspect for the floor on Christmas Day. Like, what else could he possibly do?
Oh, what if he's going to team up with Nish?
Yeah, I mean, it could be.
Happen, but...
No, I don't either. I thought I'd give you that. Yeah, maybe, Ree, maybe. I don't know though. I don't know. I mean, at the minute, it very much still feels like Dean and Nish are the 2 main suspects. I think I can't really see at this stage it being anybody outside of those 2, unless they throw in some massive surprise on the actual Christmas Day and it's Patrick or someone like that, but it's, in terms of the suspects for the women, those 2 are very much kind of right at the top of the suspect list, I think, at the minute. So we should have to wait and see. But I think next week is going to be a key component. I think we're going to get Suki's trailer next week, and what Nish does from here, God only knows. Let us know in the comment section below how you think this is all going to play out. I can't wait. Next week's going to be mammoth. Bring it on. Praise the Lord, hallelujah, everybody's thrilled. We've had not 1 but 2 returns this week. The main one being Sam Mitchell. She is back and we have greatly missed her. The other return, Ree, in case you weren't aware, we had the triumphant return of Phil's bat. Phil's bat made me
Oh
think of it.
yes,
Yeah,
I was
Phil's bat
thinking
made a
who's the
return.
second one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Phil's
he
bat.
did.
I always like to see Phil's bat. I have to say, it's become a staple, an iconic piece of equipment in the annals of Wolford. I was quite pleased to see it. I do love the bat. But yes, Sam is back. Hooray, hurrah, hooroo! In quite spectacular fashion as well, in a style that we've become accustomed to with Samantha. She arrived by being thrown out the back of a van at Phil's feet by a drug dealer. Of course, she did.
How? Right, no, sorry,
Yeah.
I've got issues with this, right? So
Yes,
she
go on.
gets, yeah, of course
Yeah.
I have. Yes, I have, Rob, right? So she gets off the plane,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
When have they chucked her in a van? Because airport security is pretty tight. So to then grab someone in a white van and put them in the back against the will is surely going to have been picked up on camera.
I
oh,
mean,
well,
maybe
we know what cameras are like.
let's not talk about
CCTV
CCTV in the world of Albert Square. Really. Let's
but
not even go there.
at an airport, you can't
Yeah,
get
but
out of that one.
it might not have happened at the airport. It might have happened once she'd landed and was somewhere else.
On a tube or something, getting on a tube.
Yeah, they might have reversed the van into the back of a tube and taken her that way. That could have happened. Absolutely. Why not?
I'm pretty sure she said to Phil, though, next time you just pick me up from airport. So
Yes, it seems easier. It does seem easier and less painful. Yeah, for sure. So Sam, we are led to believe, has stolen 100 grand's worth of drugs off this bloke that she's met. And I mean, we don't know quite what she did with the drugs. Presumably, she sold them and then had a lot of fun with the money that she got from them. Is my assumption of what she did. But now this bloke has turned up. I can't remember what his name was. It was.
What were it now?
I can't remember what his name was.
It weren't Dom, that was other guy. It was something.
It was like Coolio or something like that, but it wasn't Coolio.
Yeah, something Coolio.
It wasn't Coolio, but it was something.
No,
like
but
that.
it was something like that.
Yeah. So she basically now owes this guy £100,000 because it's Sam. Of course she does. So her first call, obviously, is to go to Phil because, as we all know, Phil is like a multi-billionaire. And she's right to turn to Phil because Phil is the one that ends up paying 100 grand to get her out of this trouble that she's in. Now, the problem with that is that Sharon was trying to sell the gym because now, since she has discovered that Phil is actually the father of Albie, she wants to sort of distance herself from Phil. And one of the first ways she wants to try and do that is to sort of remove herself from the boxing gym. And Phil's kind of like a bit reluctant, but goes, well, all right, then if you don't want to be part of this anymore, I'll buy you out, not a problem. So that's all seems to be going well until Sam arrives, and then because Sam literally nearly gets kidnapped in broad daylight, Phil has to grab his bat and then kind of run out and defend her and says, right, okay, look, you can have your money, fine, just leave her alone. If you come anywhere near me again, I'll break your legs. There you go, the Phil way of dealing with anything. Throw money at it and threaten to break its legs. That's the Mitchell way, and long may it continue.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sam's now back. Looks like Phil and Sharon are going to be stuck together at the gym, so presumably that's how that little tryst is going to start emerging again in the coming weeks. We'll have to see. I'll wait and see how that goes. But pleased to see Sam back. Surely, I've missed her so much. She's such a great character.
I am, and I'm not actually. Okay. I don't know. I don't feel like we saw enough of her this week for me to have been that pleased that she's back. I were actually. I think I were a bit more angry though, because obviously for me, I was like, why have you not gone to see Baby Charlie? I was more angry at Sam being Sam and that not being a priority.
Yeah.
And then when she were, slagging off Kat's dressing gown that she's put on, I know that this is Sam, but it made me more angry than happy to see her back. But I think we need to know more about what happened while she's been away, and then I'll be like, oh, right, okay, that explains a bit more why she's been away so long.
Well, I mean, she returns to Albert Square and very much finding herself homeless. I think she was expecting to be able to move straight back into that flat she was living in before she left. Alfie's now in there, and Jack has no interest in giving it back to her, so she's sort of sofa surfing and homeless at the moment. The only problem is that nobody has a sofa of which they wish her to surf on, so she's kind of stuck at Billy's at the moment. Except for Billy, because Billy's Billy, and was like, yeah, sleep on my sofa, and she doesn't want to do that. So she tries to persuade Phil to let her stay there, and fat chance of that happening because Kat's there and he doesn't want the danger of more drug dealers coming after her. So at the minute she's sort of homeless. So where is Sam going to be, do you think? I don't think she's going to stay at Billy's, and she wants to sort of get a little bit more involved in baby Charlie XEX's life. So
maybe through Jack. Is she going to stay with Ricky Jr.? Is she going to let him? Is she going to worm her way back in there? I think this is what's annoyed me a bit about Sam. We had some good character development with her before she went off, and now it feels like we've just rewound a bit too much. And it's like she was really getting quite mature actually before she last left. Now she's come back and she's in the same old trouble again.
Yeah,
I feel like she'd moved on a little bit. Like we got the impression she was going away to, you know, manage a hotel. And then she comes back and, oh no, I've got myself wound up in all this drug dealing nonsense. And I'm a bit like, oh, I thought you were over all that, Sam.
Yeah.
I thought you'd moved on. So I don't know. I think that's why people are going to say, no, you're not staying here. I'm sick of all your rubbish. We thought you'd grown up. We thought you'd moved past it. You left so that you could provide, and now you've done this. Bravo, Sam. So I actually, unless she manages to convince Ricky Jr., I don't know where she's going to stay. Or it's going to be Phil. Phil's going to have to cave, surely.
Well, I mean, even if she does manage to convince Ricky Jr., it's not his house. You know, at the end of the day, it's still Jack and Denise's.
And Denise's, yeah.
There is no way in hell that Denise is going to allow her to live there after last time. So that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. Although, you know, arguably Amy and Sam got very close at one point before she ended up leaving, because if you remember, Amy was going through the self-harm story at the time, and Sam was actually a real key kind of support stone for her at that point. So maybe the kids might have a little bit of saying Jack actually kind of taking pity on her, and if not living there, then he might try and sort something else out for her. Of course, you know, you've got the history of Jack and Sam, so is that going to maybe rear its head again? Has Denise got something to worry about? I think that Jack has got something coming up soon. I just get that impression that he's going to do something bad and be unfaithful, and I think Stacey's actually a suspect for that as well. Him and Stacey are getting a bit close.
You said this before.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people speculating that online that Jack and Stacey are going to have an affair. This is not spoilers. This is just what people are
speculation.
Saying. Yeah. A lot of people are thinking it's going to be Jack on the floor. I've seen that quite a lot.
I've seen that a little bit as well. Yeah, I mean, it would be a bit out there, but there's a few sort of reasons for why people are throwing this theory around, and this is kind of veering into spoiler territory a little bit. So if you don't like that, fast forward a little bit. See you in a minute. But you know, there's pictures going around because obviously we know Lauren's returning, and there seems to be a funeral of some. Yeah, there seems to be a funeral of some sort being filmed in the future. Now, obviously, we know someone is dying at Christmas, but it just seems, you know, I think, and there was word, I haven't seen pictures of it, but there was word that there was dad flowers somewhere around. So,
I didn't know that.
And also the fact that in the promo picture of Penny and Lauren, they both dressed in black, and why would Penny come back to the square? So there's a few sort of things of it could be Jack, you know, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Interesting.
Yeah, I actually think if Jack is going to be unfaithful, he's more likely to be unfaithful with Stacey than Sam.
Yeah, I mean, the pair of them are getting.
I don't think
pair of them are getting close. I just think it's interesting with Stacks. With
Stacks, we've got a shipping name already.
Jack and Stacey. JC or Stack. You know, Stack works, doesn't it? I think it'll be interesting with those two because obviously Stacey has that branding history. She's just sort of working her way through them. Jim should be lucky he's not here anymore because otherwise she'd probably have a go on him as well. You know, so it's. I can see Jack and Stacey doing, you know, having an affair at some point. You know, it would sort of make sense, and then that would open the doors to, I think, an inevitable Max return when he comes back and sees Stacey in bed with his brother. Oh, that would inflame him. He'd be furious at that.
Well, there's absolutely nothing out there that would imply that Jake was planning any kind of return to EastEnders, but we just want it so badly.
The thing is, though, it's not even about the fact that there's nothing out there. I think the stories and the way that they're playing out would suggest it's a perfect time for Max to return. There's so much for Max to come back for at the moment. So, you know, there's a lot of potential thing, you know, we've said all this before, but, you know, there's the Annie stuff, there's the Cindy stuff, and there's never a Jack and Stacey affair. That will be something else for him to sort of react to. The fact that Lauren's coming back, he's going to have more family on the square. So there's a lot there, I think, for Max to return to. So I feel like it's inevitable, and I don't feel like Lauren's going to come back. I know Penny's going to be there as well, but I don't feel like Lauren is going to be coming back on her own. I think we're going to get a surprise return of Max won Lauren's back.
Yeah,
we don't know.
So Lauren's going to get her feet settled a little bit first.
Yeah, and then will be back. It won't be announced. I think he'll just turn up out of the blue. We'll get a nice surprise at the end of a week at some point. But I think it's coming. I'm convinced it's coming. I will be amazed if we don't have Max back on the square by this time next year. 100%. I swear. In fact, but not even by next summer. I think we will have Max back. Telling you. So as far as Sam's concerned, I'm pleased that she's back because I've missed her, and she's a fun character. And I think Kim Metcalf has been great in the role. There were some nice moments between her and Ricky eventually, because obviously Ricky is hurting because Sam literally abandoned him, and he could have done with his mum around. So do you think there's going to be a relationship building between them again? Do you think that she's going to start to play the glam gran role?
I think it'd take a while for Ricky Judy to trust her again, but he probably really needs her, so he might be willing to forgive a bit sooner because he needs his mum around to help him be a dad. I mean, it was funny though when Lily offered Sam to hold baby Charlie. She's like, "Oh, I don't know, I've not done this so long." It's like, come on, Sam.
I mean,
she's not maternal, bless her, is she?
I'd have sat down for a start. I would never hold a baby stood up. That's a dangerous thing to do if you're not used to holding babies, isn't it? I'd have sat straight down and right, give her a. At least if you drop her, it's only going to be on the sofa instead of just on the floor. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, she's done it before, Sam. She should be able to.
No, well, you think, but then she's done a lot of things as Sam. I can imagine the how to hold a baby kind of movements might have left her head at some point, and all the mess that she's created for herself in her life. Right, so there we are then. So Sam's back, hurrah! We'll see how that plays out. I wonder where her story goes from here. I can't see her being that heavily involved in anything that's really going on with the Six storyline. Can you?
No, we're just thinking that, other than if it's something to do with Jack, but I can't see that. A lot of the Six seem to have a recurring theme between them of a man who's wronged them, as in, you know, like abusively.
Yeah.
And I don't 100%. Think we've got that with Sam. So I don't see her being that involved. No. No.
But watch this space. All right, then, ladies and gents. Final story of the week now. Deep breath, everybody. We are now on to Linda and Dean. So, ladies and gents, on to Linda and Dean. Oh my goodness, did this cause some controversy on the internet? And I don't know. Was I surprised by the controversy that it caused? Maybe a little bit, because I kind of. Do you know what? The villain of the week for me this week, other than Dean, obviously, was Elaine. All right. So we'll talk. Well, let's just talk about what actually went on this week. Okay. Yeah. So we discovered that Gina was the one that did the graffitiing. I think I was surprised by that. It wasn't who I was expecting it to be.
I was still, when she said it, I kind of didn't believe her. I felt
like she would take.
Yeah, I felt like she was taking the blame just so that he'd stop blaming Linda, but it wasn't actually her. But maybe it was, because then later on in the week, because I was looking out for clues as to imply that it wasn't her, and then later on in the week she went, "Oh, I just did it because of this," and I thought, so she did do it then. I just didn't believe her at first.
And it wasn't actually the graffiti artist. It wasn't actually the big mystery I think we thought it was going to be. I think we were kind of expecting. I mean, you know, I don't think a who sprayed it is really really as big as a who done it, but I feel like it was.
They did leave it on that big duff for us there, so it did seem like there were a bit of a mystery.
I thought we'd at least wait till the end of the week to find out who it was, but we found out in Monday's episode. It was like, oh, okay, it was Gina. So that all sort of kind of comes out, and Dean comes over to the Vic, and him and Linda and George end up having a row. Dean goes too far. George punches him or slaps him, I think it was. A pathetic little slap. He was like, and Dean ends up going right down the stairs, falls down the stairs, knocks himself out, and has to go to hospital.
Were that pathetic of a slap, were it, right?
No, it wasn't really, right. So what we discover at that point is that George has got history. Okay, he's been inside because he nearly he went mad at a bloke when they were.
He really is that? I thought he had a suspended sentence.
Was it a suspended sentence? Either way, he's got a criminal record for this sort of thing, and this would put him inside. Let's go there, So this would put him inside, So and that, obviously that's not what Elaine wants. And Dean comes up with this idea. If Linda says that she is lying about the rape, then he will not go to the police, and George will still be able to walk the streets. Now, obviously, this has a massive effect on Linda. She nearly ends up drinking again this week, which was a good scene, actually, I thought. And I really liked that scene between George and Linda. I thought it was a really, really nice scene. Did you?
Agreed. I've been really enjoying George. I really enjoy seeing that George is actually quite a feminist in a lot of respects. You know, he's not saying it directly, but I think you can tell that he's a father of two daughters.
Absolutely, 100%.
And that he will, you know, the fact that he's not even questioned Linda, and I know that he shouldn't, but the fact that he that he feels so strongly about it, and he knows that she's not lying, and how much he's been standing up for her, and how angry he got at Dean when he said that the reason that he slapped him down the stairs because you're implying that Linda's, some kind of tart, inverted commas there, that she's trying it on with George, and it just showed Dean's character, and it showed it to George, and I've actually I've been saying that I thought George might be a secret villain. I've seen the complete opposite this week.
I thought it was a really
big up George.
I thought it was a really, really good week for George this week, actually, because
not that he should push someone down the stairs. I should probably
Although, to be fair, I don't think he actually meant to push him down the stairs. No, he kind of just slapped him, and then that was the result of the slap. So and going on from what you say, actually, he built himself up more, because when Elaine was then saying, well, I don't want George to go to prison, so why don't you just say it, because it's just words. We'll talk about that in a second, but George was 100% behind Linda throughout the entire thing. Like, no, why would she do that? I'll go to prison if that's the alternative. All right, no way should she have to do that. So big up to George this week. My massive points. However, Elaine, bad. Very, very, very bad. I cannot believe that she would even suggest that to Linda. Just for her own. She be honest. I mean, she said she framed, it was framed as in like, we got to think of the girls as well. But actually, there was a lot of just Elaine being selfish in that respect, wasn't it? She didn't want her partner to go to prison, so she wants Linda to say that so that she can still have George around. That's disgusting. Like, Elaine, like, what kind of mother are you that would make someone that you try and make your daughter do that?
It was because I think one of the first things she said was that George wouldn't survive inside and this, that, or the other, and I just thought, actually, what you're saying is that you wouldn't survive if George went inside. That's what you're actually saying, Elaine.
Exactly.
How dare you ask your daughter to do this when you know what she's been through? And then to say that it's just words. Yeah. Well, if it's just words, why do people have talking therapy? You know what I mean? Like, words are a lot for people. So, like you said, I think Elaine was definitely villain number 2 this week. I was very surprised, actually. Yeah, I was really surprised.
Surprised and disappointed, I think, as well. So Dean has obviously told Linda that this is the only way that she's not going to get George sent to prison effectively. So this is the thing, I think, in itself that sort of really upset some people online, was the fact that Linda, well, I think there was a few little aspects of this. It was the fact that Linda kept being alone in the room with Dean. Linda kept going to the pie and mash shop and sort of having these confrontations with Dean. And at one point, she decides, I think because she's looking at the girls and she's deciding, right, well, I need them to be happy. So I will do this. She goes over to the pie and mash shop, and Dean basically sort of manipulates the conversation in terms of, saying what he wants her to say. I lied about the rape. We did sleep together. I only lied about it because I was ashamed of what we did and I didn't want Mick to find out, all of that kind of thing. And he's recording it in the meantime. Now, I don't know how Linda didn't notice what he was doing, because he literally turned around and said, I'll just turn my phone off. And
that was one of my biggest issues, to be honest. That we're supposed to believe that Linda's dumb enough to not notice him press record on his phone, actually. I'm sorry, but how did she not notice that straight away, for one thing?
There is that.
I know that's not the biggest issue.
It's not the biggest.
I was like, come on, Linda. All you've seen is press record.
Yeah, it's not the biggest bone of contention I don't think anyone had about this story. So Dean now has a recording of Linda saying that she lied. So presumably that's going to be released at some point to the wider public, which very much puts Dean in line for Christmas Day. I don't think there's any two ways about it now. Dean is meant to be one of the main suspects for Christmas Day. And we'll get to that in a second. But this really angered some viewers, really angered some saying that it shouldn't have been aired, some saying that it went too far, some saying that it was triggering to people that have been through sexual abuse or sexual assault. I mean, where do we sit on this? I mean, I
agree. I think it was too far, if I'm honest. I think, and I know that you're probably surprised at that, but I think not really. I think it was too far. I think it's quite belittling to sexual assault survivors that there'd be any circumstance in which you'd say this. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm going to get my point across very well, actually, but I understand for a storyline why it's happened. But I think the fact that they've covered this, it's an issue-based storyline, isn't it? It's about someone who's been sexually assaulted, and I think it needs to be consistently handled sensitively rather than doing something for dramatic effect, which is what this is. I think it's taken away what's a really serious story, actually, by
Mm.
making it into this drama where Linda's now having to say this lie and how they've worded it and how they've made it happen. And obviously, we know that when this recording inevitably gets released, there's going to be no context because all the hearings this recording, they don't know it's because she's been blackmailed, etc. I think the fact that she did it in a room alone with Dean, I've got a bit of an issue with that as well.
Mm.
Not that I'm saying that people may not want to put themselves in that situation. We've seen Linda at the start of the week in a room alone with Dean upstairs. I think that was to do with control, though, the fact that Dean's come onto her turf into the room where it
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
That's why she was struggling to breathe, weren't she, Linda, when that happened? Fast forward, she's in a room and saying, do you know what, though? Now I'm saying it, I can kind of see why she might do it in a way, because she's felt so
Getting that
almost
control
bullied
back.
all week, and thinking, you know what, I want this to be over with. If this is what makes it, I still think it's too far, though. Like I said to you earlier, if words are just nothing, then why would people have talking therapies? I just don't believe that Linda is more principled to not do it. I feel like I'm victim blaming here when I'm actually on the side of Linda. I'm not meaning to sound like that at all. And I can understand she's feeling vulnerable and
I mean, I don't think
position.
so. I'm very much I mean, this is probably just going to come across as ignorant man doesn't understand it properly, and I get that.
Oh, I'm wrong.
No, I know, and I understand that viewpoint. I mean, I was just watching it from. Yeah, I get it. It was difficult to watch, but all I was sort of seeing it from was the fact that Kelly Bright was absolutely doing an absolutely incredible performance throughout the entire week. I understand the sensationalism viewpoint of it. I do get that. And I think maybe the argument there is that, if you're going to do a rape storyline, that should be very much separate from any sort of, because arguably the Six storyline in itself is quite a sensational plot. I get that. That's all about people being pushed to the absolute brink and doing something sensational in the world of soap, and we're being left with this nice, lovely mystery to watch. I get that. So maybe the topic of rape and all that kind of thing should kind of be kept out of that. But then, arguably, it's not the first time that rape's been the cause of a whodunit storyline. Look at Archie and Stacey. That sort of happened there before. So yeah, I mean, I was just watching it for going, right, well, Dean is evil, all right, so Dean is a villain, and this is Dean being the villain, this is Dean being evil. I understood I kind of got the journey that we went on to get there. I'm not saying it was an easy journey to watch. I'm not saying it was a good journey in terms of what the characters were having to go through to get there. Elaine was my biggest problem throughout the week, I have to say. I think Elaine was my bone of contention throughout the whole week, because I really struggled to believe that she would even consider asking Linda to do that. That was my biggest bugbear, I think.
I think we've just seen how selfish Elaine is actually this week, and how she's just put in her own relationship with George before anything to do with Linda.
Well, it was the fact that Linda nearly ended up drinking this week, and only through George did she not. And obviously George then told Elaine what had happened, and then Elaine instantly was like, "Oh my god, I'm a terrible person," and the audience are like,
"I had no idea. I had no idea that it'd lead to you maybe drinking. Really, Elaine? Did you have no idea at all?
Yeah,
have you not been there when Linda's been struggling?"
And I mean, I also think that this kind of puts to bed that theory that we had about Elaine a couple of weeks ago, that she'd been through something similar, because then she would never have expected Linda to do this, right?
Or is it the opposite? And
or
she thinks,
I've
had to get on with it. So maybe you need to get on with it if it stops George from going to prison. Sorry, I'm saying that as
no. That's perfectly possible. So if that turns out to be the case, if that reveal does happen, will that put this in a different light for you in terms of Elaine's involvement in this story?
No, I still think she's being selfish, to be honest. Like asking, I'd understand that maybe it's because of her own experience that she asked her to do it, and like I said, she might have the viewpoint of, look, you have to carry on through it. I know, I'd still think she's been selfish. So
no, she's definitely been selfish. I just think unless there's going to be very few good reasons as to they could give us as to why it's acceptable for Elaine to have acted that way this week. I have to say, I just think that she, with Dean, I kind of, whether you kind of were looking at it and going, I shouldn't be watching this or not, I feel like it was a journey that you'd sort of expect from Dean, because he's so warped in the head that you sort of think like, yeah, I bet he does think that this is a perfectly reasonable thing to expect Linda to do. So that, like, his character journey was kind of within character and perfectly understandable compared to his role
See,
in the story. But Elaine, I really struggled with.
do you know what? Do you know what I think I struggled with the most, actually? Like, it is completely believable that Dean had asked this to Linda, and it's obviously it's on principle for him because he clearly doesn't think that he forced himself on her.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
that's very apparent. And he even believes this confession, even though she's clearly just saying it.
Does he?
I think it's a
Does he believe it
oh
though? Does he
oh I
believe it,
thought
or is he just, or does he know deep down what went on, but he's now just trying
I
to
can't
make his
figure
own
it.
life better?
I don't know. I think that he genuinely believes that he didn't, or he's told himself so much that this is what happened, and she's just lied about it because of Mick that he now believes it. He does. He seems deluded. He seems
I mean,
deluded either way.
yeah, I mean, if you tell a lie often enough, you start to believe it, don't you? So you sort
Yeah,
of wonder if
yeah.
that's where we're at with Dean. Like, he has told this lie so many times that he has now begun to believe, actually, no, that was all consensual. So I wonder if
But
that's
for
basically where we're at with Linda. He's that warped in the head with that lie now that he believes that to be the case.
I think the biggest issue personally is the fact that he recorded it. Had
Yeah.
we had this scene with him and Linda,
And that's where the sensationalism comes into it. The fact that that recording is out there in the shape of a bomb waiting to be exploded.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think had we had the scene, it would have been bad enough anyway. But if it had just been that it's going to be between Dean and Linda, only they know what she said in that room, it wouldn't be as bad. In inverted I keep saying that for listeners. Sorry, but I think now that the recording's out there, it's just turned into a drama. It's going to start belittling Linda. Women often have issues with being believed in such things, as we know. I mean, Linda's not been believed from the start, you know. He got found not guilty with Roxy. So I think the issue is now that it's going to be painting out. It's just another way for women to not be believed. And
I mean, that's the danger
and I
within
know that they
within.
might be sending out that message. That might be one of the aims we're doing this.
Well, this is a mad thing. When I was
know.
looking online at the reaction to this, there was people apparently. I mean, I didn't see it directly, but I saw that people were talking about the fact that this was going on. Was that so apparently there was some people online like who had watched this and were saying, "I can't believe Linda lied about this." Like, what? How have you watched any of this week? Even if you've only just watched this week and you haven't watched EastEnders for months and months and months and years, and you only have come back for this week, how have you seen any part of this week and thought, "Oh, Linda lied about that"? Then, like, I don't understand how
they believed her confession.
Yeah, I don't understand how you could watch that and think that. You know what I mean? Like, any part of this, no matter what you thought about this week, I don't understand how anybody could look at that and think, "Oh, well, I guess she lied then. I can't believe that. That's a surprise." What? Like, what are you watching? You know what I mean?
This is where it gets a bit dangerous then, really, isn't it? That people might then watch that, then go back and watch what actually happened, or they've remembered what happened and then go, "Oh, she was lying then." Like,
No, she was like in no way was she. Then this is the, and looking at the actual scene when it happened between Dean and Linda, like, there is no way in anyone's universe that was anything other than non-consensual.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, in no
this
universe.
this is where it shows people's opinions on stuff. I know that Coronation Street did a storyline recently, and to me that were very apparently non-consensual, and there were people saying that it was
the Amy
the Amy storyline. So maybe there are people out there who might view it as no.
I mean,
you're wrong if you did view it.
Of course, you're wrong. Like, what are you watching?
But there are people out there who might.
I think that's mental. I really, really do. And I also sort of think that those sort of people are beyond helping. If you watch any part of the storyline and think that Linda lied, then what are you watching? You know what I mean? I don't know. I get it. I do get the anger. I understand the anger. I think just because I just watched it, I don't think for me it exceeded any expectations I had of Dean's character or this storyline. The only person that really sort of shocked me and surprised me and I thought was wrong in terms of how they acted was Elaine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
I can see why people be triggered by this.
No, don't get me wrong. I get it.
I know. But I think as well, what's made this situation worse is we've been kind of left on a cliffhanger from it.
Yeah.
In some respects, we don't know what's going to happen with this recording, so it depends how. If we could have a complete U-turn and agree with how EastEnders then handle it next week somehow. But right now, it's not been left in a good way.
this is the danger of this recording now, because you sort of think, right, so Dean's going to play this recording. Yeah, I don't know. I could see them doing some scene where he walks into the Vic, a busy Vic one night and plays it, so the whole
Oh
square's there.
well. Sorry, you just made me think. Mitch were
Go on.
organising a party for Karen, and they're going to get the karaoke machine out. So
Yeah,
he's going to play it down
plays it on
mic,
the
isn't it,
microphone.
probably.
Yeah, maybe, because that was a random little mention this week. So yeah, possibly you could be right there. So yeah, but either way, this recording is obviously going to be played in some really public way, isn't it? So you then got to sort of wonder, right? Well, how many people are actually going to believe this? How many people are actually in that square who have known Linda for years and years and years are going to are going to believe? I mean, obviously, it's a recording of her voice saying I lied about it. So how is it going to be that easy for support to fall for her?
Well, it depends, doesn't it? Because then if he obviously lets everyone hear it, and then Linda tries to say, yeah, well, I got blackmailed into it, is he going to go, well, if you tell everyone that I blackmailed you, then there were no point in you doing it, and I'm going to get George done for it. So then is she going to have to carry on saying that it was a lie? Is that where they're going to go with it?
I mean, arguably, you could also say that Linda has got case for, well, I didn't know you were recording me, so you could have edited that. You could have done, what I mean? Like, there's ways that she could argue around it. I don't think she will. I think it will be a case of the recording gets played and Linda will just sort of be rabbits in headlights, and then it will snowball from there. But all of this week was all about putting Dean as ultimate sort of on the floor suspect.
Sorry, one other thing we've not mentioned. It were all pointless because he'd already agreed to not
this is
George when he talked to Cindy.
Yeah, I mean that was the really sad thing about the whole thing as well. That Cindy managed to persuade Dean, you don't need to do this. All right, this is pointless. All right, just move on from it. Okay, you've got a lot of work to do in terms of trying. If you are really saying that you are a good person, you have a lot of work to do. All right, and getting yourself into these situations is not going to help your case. So he's like, right, okay, so I'll leave it for now. Then I'll drop it. Isn't happy to do it, but drops it. But then Linda comes and he takes advantage of it.
She played into the fact that it affect her relationship with her kids, and somehow Dean was sympathetic towards that.
With the Jade stuff going on as well, which I think we're still believing. We believe in the Jade stuff.
I believe
because Stacey spoke to Shabnam. We trust Shabnam. We know Shabnam. We trust Stacey. So there's no way that that's a lie. I don't think now.
No,
I don't know. It's tricky. It is very, very tricky. In terms of Dean being on the floor now, then I know we've said all along before Dean turned up.
I hope he is.
This is the thing. Like, you sort of wonder, where does Dean go from here in terms of what his comeuppance will be? Because there's one of two things that's going to do. Either he's going to die, or he's going to go to prison for things that he never actually ever went to prison for. All right. Now, the thing about him being on the floor Christmas Day, my only issue with that now is, and I figured, I suspected I was going to feel like this with the Dean stuff, having said that it seems too late in the process for Dean to arrive and then be on the floor. I'm against that now. I think that there's no reason why he can't be on the floor now, because we've still got another month till Christmas now, and you can fit so much into that, in my view.
I know, and I disagree. I still think it'd feel a bit too clumsy that they brought him back this late, and then he goes on. But like you said, we have got a month. That's what I mean. It's where we are now. I feel like it'd be a bit clumsy that you've brought him back for 6 weeks for him to be dead on the floor. But like you said, we've got a month to go yet. So if they do it well in this next month.
My only argument with that is the fact that I find kill Dean off and have him on the floor. But are you really going to put Shirley through this again? You're going to take another kid up. You're going to put Shirley through grieving and death again. If we are to believe that Dean was in contact with Shirley, but even if they weren't, I can't imagine Shirley would not be devastated that another one of her kids has died. So to put Shirley through that again seems a little bit too much for one character in terms of grief, don't you think? It's a bit like It's a bit like Carmel having two sons die on the square. That was too much. So you kind of feel, is it the same? Is that too much for one character to have to deal with in terms of grief?
Yeah, well, Shirley's not here at the minute, is she? So we don't have to kind of see that.
Clarence has come forward and said that we haven't seen the last of Shirley. So I wouldn't be surprised if Shirley makes an appearance. Maybe not full time. Maybe she might come back for like a couple of weeks and then go away again and sort of tie up this part of the 6 storyline. But you never know. So yeah, it was a contentious story for a lot of people this week, and I'm intrigued to sort of see how this plays out from here, and maybe what the reaction will be to it. So let us know in the comment section below where you thought, did the story go too far? What did you think about it? Did it all go within expectations for you? I'm curious to sort of see what the
me and Rob are a bit about this one, aren't we?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't know is the honest answer. Is the honest answer to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I was just gonna say I'm more shocked that people actually now believe it. Like I'm actually
that's
quite
the
offended
mad
by
thing.
that.
Yeah, that's the mad thing about it, isn't it? Like I said, I didn't see it, but I saw people reacting to the fact that that was happening. Do you know what I mean? So I madness. Anyway, gold star this week, Ree.
Oh, I'm stuck between three.
Oh.
I'm stuck between Vinny, Suki, and George.
Mm-hmm.
And George, I only thought of while we've been talking, actually. So I'm going to give it to George.
I was going to give mine to George as well.
Oh,
2 stars
sorry.
to George. No, that's all right. We could both do that. 2 stars to George because he was very, very good this week. But
Suki was that close, but I'm hoping that she's going to get it next week.
Yeah, and as far as Vinny's concerned, we'll see how he goes next week.
Yeah, I didn't want to give him too much credit, actually.
No,
to be fair,
'cause
even though he had
about
some
time.
nice scenes.
Yeah, about time.
But like, all right,
Vinny,
pat
me
on
lad.
the back, Vinny. Yeah,
it's young Vinny, me lad. Right. Yeah, so that's this week's discussion over and done with. We shall finish as usual with some comments from you guys. Before we read any comments out, we should throw a mention to Danielle Harold, who is currently in the jungle. Danielle Harold went into I'm a Celebrity at the weekend, and I have to say, I'm a big I'm a Celeb fan, and I have to say she's coming across really, really, really well. She's very popular as well, so I think she's gonna do quite well in the jungle. She's had like a few kind of run-ins with bugs and critters, but she's not had like an actual trial proper for herself yet. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how she deals with an actual bush tucker trial. She's had like some cockroaches and stuff thrown at her, but nothing majorly in terms of trial. But she's coming across really, really, really well. I'm very pleased. Go on, Danny.
I've seen a few clips. I don't watch, but I have seen a few clips, and I think she's coming across really, really nice. Yeah. So
Team
good
Danielle.
luck.
Danielle for the win, we say on
definitely.
here. Comment 3. What have you got for us from this week?
I've got one from our Twitter from Brandy Builds YT saying, I absolutely loved this week. Suki's story has been amazing, and despite a lot of controversy, I really enjoy Linda's story. It really shows how evil Dean really is and how delusional he has become. Overall, one of my favourite weeks this week. Can't wait for Nish next week.
Yeah, I mean that's another side of it as well. People just watching it and saying, "I can't believe Dean is this evil. Wow, what's he going to do next?" That is, and I think I've got to be honest. I think that's what the show was trying to do.
It's a soap at the end of the day, and someone's watched it as a soap, and taking and I think that's where I was at with it.
I think that's where I was at with it, which that's rightly or wrongly. I think I just watched it as that, but then didn't really think about the impact that might have on other people. So I think that's probably where I sort of, I don't know. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I still think it's too far. It's nice to see other people's perspective, don't get me wrong, but I do still think it went too far this week, personally. But
Karen Cowley says, Cowley, I hope I'm saying that right. Karen Cowley, I can't even say the first name right. Karen, that's not difficult to say. Karen Cowley says, I'm giving my gold star to Shiv Jalasa this week. I loved seeing the compassionate, caring side of Vinny. Those scenes between him and Balvinda Sopal were amazing. Hopefully, Clenners and Co. will continue to give Vinny more depth in the months to come. As for you and Ree, thank you for your podcast. You never fail at treating each other with dignity and respect, which is very much appreciated. Good look forward to seeing you both on Sunday. Thank you very much, Karen. We don't forget.
You don't see how we treat each other when we've not got the record button going, Karen.
You should see what we're like with each other off camera, Karen. Let me tell you. Next commentary. But thank you for that very nice comment. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Another from our Facebook page from Kathy Verham Kettner, who says, Suki staying behind to wait for Eve sounds like a recipe for disaster. I wish Suki would have gone ahead with Eve to wrap things up and follow her. Those two together are a great couple. Hopefully they can stay in Walford and become the beautiful and loving power couple I see. But alas, things will get worse before they get better. I mean, I agree with you there, Kathy. I think
I mean, can you see a future with Suki and Eve?
I could, and I think it'd be great to actually see them develop as a couple and, have I don't know how to, just leading a life on Albert Square would be really nice to see, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Oh, it's Albert Square, isn't it? I mean, I would be very, very interested to sort of see how they work as an actual couple, and
Yeah,
then sort of see how they develop from there. We've still got a lot of stuff to come with Eve, I think, in terms of character development, in terms of stuff that went on with her parents. We've got that sort of in
yeah.
the pipeline, ready to come at any moment whenever they feel
Mm.
that they can do that. So having Suki on her side with that, once all this Nish stuff is over and done with, that might be quite interesting to sort of see play out. But yeah,
That's
very
very
interesting.
true.
I'm
Mm.
really looking forward to next week, I have to say. I really, really am. It's going to be good. Mariam McSaveni says, I don't like the fact that they keep intentionally putting Linda in rooms with Dean alone. When he came to her, it was one thing, but there's been about 3 now where they've got her going to him. Agree with others, this is a disgusting plot twist and is only making me think more that Mick might do a Lazarus on us. Yeah, I mean, there's still people that think that Mick might return from the dead at some point, which would be a
And then
twist
he
and a
might be
half, wouldn't it?
he might be on the floor on Christmas Day. I've seen
Hey,
that. Yeah.
anything goes on EastEnders, doesn't it? Why not? Yeah, I mean that's a very common sort of viewpoint throughout this week as well about this. I think we mentioned it, the scenes where Linda and Dean are on their own together so much. But then, I mean, I agree in real life that shouldn't happen. But then, in terms of soap and dialogue between two characters, how do you do that without it being
I
in that? Do
just,
you know what I mean? It's weird. It's
but
odd. It's hard.
we did mention earlier. It's a bit about
Taking
Linda
control
taking that
back.
control back because
Yeah.
there's been a few times when obviously it's Dean who's in coming to her personal space, like being
Mm.
upstairs in the kitchen. It's obviously been very harrowing for Linda. But then when it's her choosing to go there, it's a different place, it's a different room. I get it though. You would think that Linda would maybe take somebody with her, which would then have maybe solved all of this recording business, so
Mm.
which is why it probably didn't happen.
Yeah, it's
So
tricky. And then
yeah.
you've got one more commentary.
Finally, from Oliver Wilson, we've got that scene between Linda and Dean was stomach churning and quite hard to watch. I don't like the story, but praise has to go to Kelly Bright for some great acting to make us feel that way.
Yeah, I mean,
I
no
mean,
argument there. Linda,
yeah.
Kelly Bright was phenomenal this week, I thought, and will be in the coming weeks. I think because I think this is only going to get harder for Linda, which which may well make it harder to watch as well. It's really tricky territory, I think. So I wish us both good luck in covering this in in the weeks to come.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just tough viewing, and a tough story to cover. And yeah, I understand the sensationalism aspect of it. I do get that. But yeah, it's when you're coming up to a murder mystery storyline like this, you've got to. I think you've sort of got to make each victim as hateful as they can possibly be, so that they are a suspect. But maybe that doesn't necessarily cater to the sensitivities that can be garnered from that sort of storyline. It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we've just gone. It feels like as viewers we've gone through it with Linda as well. So then to see
Yeah,
this,
100%.
and
Yeah.
they've done it so well, it's
Mm.
kind of almost detracting from the good that they've done with this storyline almost by
Yeah.
doing this. But I do think that we need to be a bit open-minded and see where it goes next week as well, because hopefully they're going to redeem themselves, hopefully somehow.
We shall
We'll
see.
see.
Well, you can join us to talk about that next week. And if you would like your comment read out, or you have any questions or feedback to give us, then you can do the following.
You can find us on Facebook at Albert Square After Dark, on Twitter and Instagram at E20 After Dark. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can listen to us on Apple and all your favourite podcast sites. Drop us an email at e20afterdarkpodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like to buy us a coffee, you can do so by going on buymeacoffee.com/E20 After Dark.
That's it for this week. Thank you very much for listening and for watching. Next week looks to be a big one. And do you know one of the reasons why I know next week is a big one, Ree? Do you know?
Why?
Do you know what?
Why?
We've got a double Simon Ashdown next week.
Is it?
Yes, we have.
Oh, brilliant.
Yes, double Simon Ashdown to go into December. Anything could happen. It's very exciting. But yeah, please make sure you're there to join us next week as we discuss the fallout from what looks to be the climax to the Suki and Eve and Nish story. Make sure you're there. Until then, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.